Hi everyone. Sadly, we have another tribute screening this week. Ennio Morricone died on the 6th of July at the age of 91. Over the course of a career that started in the 1940s, he composed more than 400 scores for film and television, as well as over 100 classical works. The films he scored are as diverse as spaghetti westerns, Days of Heaven, which you may have seen at Film Club, and John Carpenter's The Thing. So we had a huge amount of films we could have chosen this week. But if you watch my introduction to Unforgiven, you'll know how much I love Clint Eastwood westerns. So picking A Fistful of Dollars is also a little bit of self-indulgence on my part. It is one of Morricone's most distinctive scores, though, and he employed things here that you'll hear in his later work too. Films like The Good, the Bad and the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. This film was released in 1964 and spearheaded the spaghetti western trend. Low-budget films made by Italians, often starring at least one American, and usually filmed in Spain. Prior to this film, Clint Eastwood had been a big TV star in Rawhide, but this film cemented his Hollywood stardom and stoic, violent persona. A Fistful of Dollars is a remake of Akira Kurosawa's samurai film, Yojimbo, which the director Sergio Leone loved from the very first time he saw it in Rome. And visually, the film is like no Western that Hollywood had ever made before. It feels otherworldly simply because of the way the actors' voices are dubbed, and there are the close-ups and the angles that are so distinctive too. But Ennio Morricone's contribution is also a major factor of what makes this film and Leone's other spaghetti westerns so special. I could talk about the making of this film and why I love it so much for hours, but I am going to spare you that and just focus on the music. This book, Christopher Frayling's brilliant biography of Sergio Leone, Something to Do with Death, which draws on interviews with Eastwood, Leone and Morricone, has got loads in it, which I'm going to quote from. So this is Clint Eastwood talking about what made A Fistful of Dollars so special. They opera-sized them. They made the violence and the shooting aspect a little larger than life. And they had great music and new types of scores. A film has to have a sound of its own. And the Italians, who don't record sounds while they're shooting, are very conscious of this in the post-production department. Leone will get a very operatic score, a lot of trumpets, and then all of a sudden, kapow! He'll shut it off and let the horses snort and all that sort of thing. It's very effective. Morricone wasn't Leone's first choice of composer. It was the producers who made Leone speak to him because he was composing music for some of their other films. The pair bonded when Morricone pointed out to Leone that they'd been to junior school together, and Leone later compared their relationship to a marriage like the Catholics used to be married before the divorce laws, tempestuous but devoted. In Leone's words, what he wanted to do with this film, compared to the American westerns, which he really did love, was much more interaction between music, sounds, and visual images. In each scene, each silence, and each sound of any kind should have a raison d'etre. Morricone also saw in Leone his innate Italianness. He said, Leone never really shared the American psychology, to which he manifestly preferred a more Italian reality, a down-to-earthness. Certain characters in his films, the bad ones in particular, are very Italian and very Roman, but with Stetsons on their head. Nothing to do with American history, really. And to underline the irony and craziness of these Italian characters, I created an Italian sound. Partly, this was achieved through use of distinctive musical instruments, which were unusual in a Western setting. I wanted to hammer out a kind of music which was more pressing, more troubled, more of a direct experience. So I used the Sicilian guimbard and the maranzano, a Mediterranean instrument which is also played in North Africa and Asia. The other key instrument that you'll hear a lot of on the Fistful of Dollars soundtrack is the human voice, which Morricone called the most beautiful instrument of all, with a sound attached to life itself. The main theme that inspired the rest of the score came from a 1962 arrangement Morricone had done for the Woody Guthrie song Pastures of Plenty for the American singer Peter Tevis, and I'll add a link to that on our website for you to listen to. If you know A Fistful of Dollars, you will recognise that song, the sound of it, immediately. Instead of the lyrics, what you get in the film is the whistling of Alessandro Alessandrono, who also led the choir and played the guitar on the soundtrack. So all of this contributed in really innovative ways to one of the great film scores, and also, in my opinion, one of the great movies as well. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a great tribute to Ennio Morricone. Stay safe, vidi well.